Hi, I'm Emily Watkins, and this is the WBFO Disabilities Beat. 26 years ago this month, a 32-year-old Fredonia native died after being pushed in front of a New York City subway car. New York State hasn't been the same since. Kendra Webdale was pushed by Andrew Goldstein, a then 29-year-old man with schizophrenia who had a long history of both violence and seeking help for his mental health. Just months after Kendra's death, a law was passed in her name, allowing for adults with a history of non-compliance with mental health treatment to be placed under an assisted outpatient treatment order, or AOT.
A person has to have a mental health diagnosis. They have to meet the criteria, which are 2 involuntary hospitalizations within a 36-month period for treatment non-adherence.
Beth Harulis is a senior staff attorney at the New York Civil Liberties Union.
There is the Kendra Webdale focal point that a person who has committed an act of violence within a 48-month period, so 4-year look back for people who have committed violent criminal acts, can also be subjected to a Kendra's order.
The law has never been permanent, always up for reauthorization every few years. Organizations, including the NYCLU, have advocated against the law due to concerns with racial disparities in order recipients, personal autonomy, and funding to outpatient services. The law is now getting a renewed focus. Governor Kathy Hochul recently said she plans to introduce legislation to expand the definition of who can be involuntarily admitted to inpatient treatment and, quote, improving the process through which a court can order certain individuals to participate in assisted outpatient treatment while also making it easier for individuals to voluntarily sign up for this treatment, end quote.
Now the governor wants to do something that, quite frankly, I proposed almost 3 years ago now.
Senator George Borrello, a Republican representing New York's 57th Senate District, has been campaigning for an expansion of Kendra's law for 3 years. His voice in the conversation is unique, as he not only represents the area Kendra was from, but he went to high school with her.
So for me, I see what happened with Kendra and how horrible that was, and how this, something was put in place to try to prevent it. It's since been watered down.
WBFO reached out to the governor's office for more specifics on her proposed expansion. Her office says those details will be provided later this month, but Borrello's ask has been specific.
Someone who is not able to provide for themselves the basics, food, shelter, healthcare, clothing, that those people need to be deemed essentially a threat to themselves and others. And we need to address that and get those people the help that they need. But it can't be done necessarily with within 72 hours, and it can't be done with relying on those folks to come back for treatment or to essentially self-administer treatment.
Borrello wants to see this broad expansion of the criteria for involuntary commitment of people with mental health conditions, as well as the ability to involuntarily commit someone who does not comply with AOT orders for more than the standard 72-hour hold.
I don't think that it's fair to draw a connection between lack of services or connection to services and a crime being committed.
Harulis again, speaking broadly about proposed approaches to Kendra's law.
But I do think that every opportunity has to be taken to ensure that a person doesn't end up in trouble, either personal injury to themselves, death, trauma, and the like. And for people who do become violent and snap, the public safety, it has to be balanced. But I think we lose sight of the needs of New Yorkers with mental health challenges.
Studies have determined people living with severe mental health conditions are more likely to be the victims rather than the perpetrators of a crime. Borrello says his goal is to make sure people get sufficient treatment. But for many opponents of the law, including Harulis, the concern still comes back to if Kendra's law is actually effective and targeting the people who need it the most.
I do think this is a moment for the legislature, for the governor, to take a fresh look at what our system is in New York State to provide a comprehensive system of mental health services.
You can listen to the Disabilities Beat segment on demand, view a transcript and plain language description for every episode on our website at wbfo.org. I'm Emily Watkins. Thanks for listening.